Here's a new episode of Badass Movie Time. I'm just waking up. I lost my coffee. Fuck. Alright, this is a two-parter because this might take me a little while, but so I did the Guy movies, part 1. And I showed Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez movies, Guy Ritchie, stuff that you would assume a movie buff would like, kind of. It's like the starter kit for Guy movies, I guess. Now, it's okay if women like these movies, and the funny thing about a lot of these movies, and my mom is the one that got me to watch a lot of these movies. Like True Romance, my mom was like, hey, watch this. That's the starter stuff. And a lot of you probably watched that and were like, pretty sure Andrew has better movies than that. Everybody's seen that shit. So now I'm going to go through. Part 1 is going to be a little more mainstream. Part 2 is like maybe stuff you might have not seen. So stick with me. I'm going to try and go through this really quick because I have like 50 movies in front of me. These are my favorite like dude movies though. And I'm going to start with a movie that's based off of a Stephen King short. I believe it was when he was writing under the name Backman. I could be wrong on that, but there's this awesome movie called Stand By Me. So this is actually more of a boys movie. I saw this movie when I was pretty young, but it's fun to watch as an adult and reflect upon your youth and the things that you would do when you were a boy. Basically, it's about 4 boys venturing out into the woods to find a dead body. So, and then you go from there. One of my favorite things in this movie is the Puke-Rama or whatever. One of the characters, Will Wheaton, I believe, starts telling a story about a bunch of people throwing up all over each other, and they show it, and it's a pie eating contest. Everybody in the whole audience starts vomiting on each other. It's so cool, but disgusting at the same time. Great movie. I love this movie when I was a little kid. Rest in peace, River Phoenix. We got to have his brother in a couple of these movies too. We have Gangs of New York. This is when Leonardo DiCaprio wasn't being a pretty boy anymore. I showed this too soon. I have more Martin Scorsese movies later on. Gangs of New York is a very good movie. Daniel Day-Lewis wins this movie by far. Check it out. It's a long one. This DVD is 2 discs long. Martin Scorsese likes to make his movies long. One of my favorite books too is a book called Into the Wild, and Emil Hirsch, I believe Sean Penn directed this, right? Yeah, Sean Penn directed this. This is an awesome movie. I don't know if any of you have ever had the feel or the want to just disappear from society and just do whatever the fuck you want and just live off the land. But I used to dream about this a lot when I was younger. I'm pretty happy nowadays, and I don't really want to go sleep with my head in the dirt. But when I was this guy's age, this is all I thought about doing, was just start hopping trains and just fucking do whatever I want. So this is a great movie. And this also has a kind of a warning in it. The book definitely does. The book goes in the last half or the last quarter of Into the Wild is just stories about dudes who did that and died horribly. So, another great movie that Emil Hirsch is in, is a movie called Alpha Dog, which is based on a true story. This movie made me realize, wow, Justin Timberlake's a pretty good actor. Ben Foster's in this. This might be the first thing I really remember seeing Ben Foster in. Basically, this boy is kidnapped from skinhead drug dealers, and it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse as it goes. And all these witnesses and how stupid the crime was, and it's basically little boys playing, gangsters, little rich assholes playing gangsters in it. It's great movie. As I mentioned, Joaquin Phoenix, River Phoenix's little brother, was in a great movie called We Own the Night, which is also based on a true story. Who directed this? James Gray. Basically, this guy, Joaquin Phoenix, and Mark Wahlberg are brothers. And Robert Duvall from the Godfather trilogy is their dad. And Robert Duvall is a police chief, and Mark Wahlberg is a cop. And Joaquin Phoenix is a club owner, a very popular club owner. And he's dating Eva Mendes. So, But, it's this very intricate story about how Joaquin Phoenix basically comes to the side of the cops. He's very tight with the Russian mafia, and you kind of, it clashes with one another. And it's kind of Joaquin Phoenix's, story about how he becomes one of the good guys. Shit. So, next up, Stanley Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick is a fine filmmaker. This movie's not something I'd really just watch for fun, but Full Metal Jacket, very brutal look at Vietnam. One of the most probably accurate movies towards basic training in war and all that stuff. Very fucked up movie. Good stuff. Made me glad I didn't go in the Marines. Another skinhead movie, American History X. This is a very intelligent movie about not being a stupid racist asshole. Edward Norton did a really good job. And then Edward Furlong. This was one of the last really good movies Edward Furlong was in. I think drugs kind of fucked him up. But he's also, around this time frame, was in a movie called Detroit Rock City, which is another good guy movie. I don't own Detroit Rock City on DVD, though. We got another true story here, guys. Donnie Brasco. Great movie. Johnny Depp, Al Pacino. It's a movie about an undercover cop joining the mafia. Good stuff. Very enjoyable. We used to watch this a lot at my friend Dak's house. We watched it a couple times, actually. Alright. What you guys know about Charlie Bronson? We got Death Wish. The original Death Wish. And then we have the first 3 sequels. I don't own Death Wish 5, though. I think there's 5 of them. I wish I owned Death Wish 5. But honestly, the original is a really good movie. 2's fun. 3 is the best out of the whole series. Death Wish 3, you can skip all of it. Watch Death Wish 3. If you do anything, do yourself a favor, watch Death Wish 3. Another Johnny Depp criminal movie is a movie called Black Mass. Another true story. Crazy stuff. Johnny Depp is such a fucking creep in this movie. I've only watched this once. I watched this about a year ago when I first bought it, and I enjoyed it. It's very interesting. It's an interesting one. It kind of reminded me of Blow. To be honest with you, it was like another Blow. I don't know. So, Martin Scorsese's best movie, Goodfellas. Goodfellas comes close to the great The Godfather. The Godfather is probably my favorite, gangster movie. The original Godfather. I like the whole trilogy, but Goodfellas fucking comes very close. I think I have Casino down here somewhere, too. I'm not going to dig for it. But basically it goes Goodfellas, Casino, and then The Wolf of Wall Street. If you kind of notice, they're all narrations, and they're very similar stories. But, man, this is such a fucking good movie. I love Goodfellas. everything about this movie. The soundtrack is off the hook. The story. This is supposedly based on a true story as well. Martin Scorsese's best film. Something that comes close to Goodfellas, though, for me, is The Departed. The Departed is an excellent movie. Excellent cast. You got Jack Nicholson. You got Mark Wahlberg. You got Matt Damon. You got Leonardo DiCaprio. You got all these motherfuckers, and it's just about undercover cops, which isn't an uncommon thing in a gangster movie, but it's about undercover gangsters, too. Is a little, twist in it. And, it's fucking good, man. It's so good. The ending, the first time I saw this in the theaters, I was kind of like, really? What the fuck is going on? But I ended up really enjoying it. A lot of people take offense to this movie. I don't think it was meant to take offense to it. But they made him, Brian De Palma, the director of Carrie, made a little exploitation flick called Scarface. Came out in the mid-'80s or early 80s. And I think people are offended because, Al Pacino's playing a Cuban in it. But I think you can kind of justify it because the rest of the Cubans are actually Cubans. And I think they were trying to go for the old 50s style of, I don't know, there's some bad things in the older movies where people are playing races that they shouldn't be playing. And there's blackface and there's people making their eyes slanted, white people. But, this is kind of there's an old movie called Scarface. Scarface is, I believe, Al Capone's nickname. So it's like they take that and they make it Cuban. So they wanted an Italian to still do it, maybe. I don't know what they're going to that. And there's a lot of white people who played Italian gangsters back in the older gangster movies. So they were going for something there, and I think it's missed on a lot of people. But a lot of people want to just be offended. I kind of like that they had a Italian dude play a Cuban in this movie. And I think he did a really good job considering that he's not Cuban, even in the slightest. But one of my favorite. It's definitely an exploitation flick. It's over the top. It's long. And there's so many good quotes in this movie. I guess I don't need to really review Scarface. You should probably just go watch Scarface. So, going back in time, something I really enjoy are Clint Eastwood Westerns. And we got his American movies here. We got High Plains Drifter, The Outlaw Josie Wales. Great movies. But even better than those are the Sergio Leone, the spaghetti westerns, man. We have all of them. We got Fistful of Dollars. We got For a Few Dollars More. We got The Good, The Bad, The Ugly. And then we have, in this set, we have his, I think Clint Eastwood directed Hang 'em High, but that was his first American one. I guess that's not really a spaghetti western, but those original spaghetti westerns are just a spaghetti western. For those who don't know, are over the top, violent, exploitive, Italian-made westerns, and that's why they're called spaghetti westerns because Italians made them, and these are the best. So, and it wouldn't make much sense to talk about Clint Eastwood without bringing up Dirty Motherfucking Harry. We got all of them. We got Dirty Harry. We got Magnum Force. We got The Enforcer. We got Sudden Impact. And The Deadpool. Great series. Love it. I love every one of these movies very much. This is one of my favorite DVD sets. Gotten a lot of use. Great stuff. Alright guys, to end part 1. I don't need to say any more than that. So, we'll see you guys in part 2. Alright, part 2 of the Guy movies. Part 2 of part 2. Part 2. So, my dad would sometimes take me to the drive-in when I was a young man. And I'd always enjoy going with him because we'd watch Guy movies together. It was an enjoyable thing. We did it a couple times when we lived in the Bay Area. And one of my favorites, we didn't even go to see this. This came on after the movie we went to see, and I don't even remember the fucking movie we went to see because it was so boring. But this movie was like, caught my eye, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck is this? And it was Jackie Chan and Rumble in the Bronx. This is one of my favorite movies. It's lighthearted, but it's so violent and over the top, and it's just such a great movie. I think this is kind of his his big American, breakout. Everybody knows who Jackie Chan is now, but this is before Rush Hour. This is before everything else. Rumble in the Bronx, one of my all-time favorite movies. Uh-oh. Hold on. Phone call. I apologize. So Rumble in the Bronx, another cool movie I caught after we went and saw Free Willy 2, so that wasn't really a guy movie, but my little sister and I did. And this weird movie came up. We didn't watch the whole thing. It came out in 1995, so I was 8 to 9. No, I was 8. I was 8 years old. Virtuosity. This is a fucking cool movie, man. It's about computer intelligence taking on a physical form and going into the it's in the future, but he takes on a physical form and God, fuck. Hopefully my phone doesn't ring. I just have a couple more movies to talk about in part 2. Alright, part 2 of Man movies. Virtuosity, great stuff. Denzel Washington, Russell Crowe, love it. A great director, John Woo. I got Hard Boiled I got 2-disc edition of Hard Boiled right here. I also have Kung Fu Superman in here for some reason. That's weird. I forgot the other movie. There's a movie where Chow Yun-Fat's in it, and he's... Fuck, man. There's 2 really good John Woo movies that I love. Chow Yun-Fat was also in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which was a fantastic movie as well. Hard Boiled, about a cop who's hard-boiled, He's a hard-boiled cop. Another good cop movie, Die Hard. One of my favorite Christmas movies. Original. Die Hard 2 is good. The original Die Hard is where it's at, my friends. Alright, so I talked about Death Wish in part 1. One of my favorite film companies from back in the day, and there's a lot of movies that they made that you've probably seen, and you were like, that was bizarre, but you didn't know was this film company. They're called Cannon Films. And I got this 5-pack for Cannon Films. I got Cobra, Sylvester Stallone in Cobra. We got Masters of the Universe, Bloodsport, Over the Top, which is another great Sylvester Stallone movie, and then The Hitman, which is like Chuck Norris's, trying to come back type situation. These are great movies. Bloodsport and Cobra are probably my favorite out of them, but the guys in charge of Cannon Films were Israelis, so it's like that foreign, like, I'm trying to be an American, but I'm not an American type of movie, and I love that stuff. And that was a big thing in the 80s and into the 90s, and great stuff. I talked about Halloween. I've talked about John Carpenter here and there. I have some more John Carpenter stuff to show you guys eventually, but one of my favorite John Carpenter films is the original Assault on Precinct 13. I love the soundtrack to this movie. I love the premise. Basically, you take Night of the Living Dead, turn it into a diverse racial group of criminals, and they're assaulting a police precinct that's about to close down. So it's undermanned. It's genius, man. I think this was John Carpenter's first film. So this, to me, is up there with Halloween and The Thing. The Thing is probably one of my favorite horror movies ever. This comes close to The Thing for me. Michael Douglas was in a movie. Everybody's probably felt like this. Everybody's felt stressed. Everybody's had life weighing down on them. This takes it and amps it up a little bit. Joel Schumacher actually directed this. Falling Down. Great movie. This guy's having a really rough day, and he just loses his fucking mind. Everything catches up to him, and he just goes nuts. And he just says what he wants to say. He does what he wants to do. He does what we often think about doing at times when we're really distressed and we're stressed out. And that's why I'm counting this as a guy movie. There's women that feel it. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be sexist. There's women that like these movies, okay? But they're still guy movies. It's okay. I like chick flicks. Mean Girls is one of my favorite movies. That's a girl movie. But it's a great woman movie. Maybe we'll do woman movies one day. Malcolm X. This is a Spike Lee joint. I love Spike Lee. Great book. Great movie. Denzel Washington did a good job in this. Check it out, man. Check out Malcolm X. It's a good story. Good stuff. So, a great samurai series. Samurai movies are excellent guy movies. You got Yojimbo. You got Seven Samurai. You got Goyoken. There's a series in Japan called Lone Wolf and Cub. And it's about a samurai who's just getting revenge for the murder of his wife. And he puts a ball and a sword in front of his son. And he goes, you choose. The the son had chosen the ball, he would have killed him. He chose the sword. So these two are on the path to hell to get revenge. Him and his baby boy and a little baby carriage. And in order to get that series to America, they took the best things from a couple of the first few films and they made a movie called Shogun Assassin. This is a fantastic movie. I love the little boy's narration throughout the movie. It's so good. But you can tell that it's clips from other movies put together. It's well done, though. We got some Jet Li here. We got Kiss of the Dragon. I don't own the one on DVD. I love the one. Kiss of the Dragon and the one came out around the same time. And Jet Li was like, this is the new Jackie Chan guy. But probably my favorite Jet Li movie is Unleashed. He is... When he was a little boy, he was trained to be like the best fighter in the world, and he has a dog collar on. When the dog collar comes off, he's gonna beat some ass. Mario Brothers is in this. What's his name? Bob Hoskins is his dog trainer, basically. He's a mean bastard in this movie. This was one of Bob Hoskins' last movies, I believe, that I saw. While we're doing the Asian stuff, we got Old Boy here. This is a fucked up movie. Came out from... It's a Korean film. And it is brutal. The ending of this movie is so fucking brutal. But one of my favorite things about this movie is there's a scene where the main character's in a hallway. And he fights an entire hallway full of dudes with bats and knives. And it's not martial arts, but it's like choreographing dancing when he's beating ass. It's beautiful. It's one of the prettiest fighting movies that doesn't have any real skill. He just fights. That's what's cool about Old Boy. I really like Old Boy. It's a martial arts movie, but it's not. It's an anti-martial arts movie. Another Joaquin Phoenix, great movie, Walk the Line, the story of Johnny Cash. The disappointing thing about this movie is I feel like it's the very same fucking movie as Ray Charles, which could be a coincidence. Maybe, Johnny Cash and Ray Charles had a similar life. But if you watch Ray Charles and then you watch Walk the Line, because they came out around the same time, very, very similar lives, Good movie, though. I love Walk the Line. Another good music movie, another music guy movie. Jerry Lee Lewis is, I think Oliver Stone did it? Who did Great Balls of Fire? Great Balls of Fire is a really good movie. Alright, we're close to the end. I have Bruce Lee's collection, the Bruce Lee collection. Great movies. Big Boss. Big Boss is cool because he fights German Shepherds and he wins. This is really cool. I don't have Enter the Dragon. That's the only Bruce Lee movie I don't own. This has the rest of them in it, but I don't have Enter the Dragon, which is fucking mind-boggling because it's such a good movie. Alright guys, I saved best for last. We're going to end this really fast. I don't have to talk too much about this movie. If you've never heard of it, do yourself a favor, check it out. I'm going to talk really fast now. Keep up with this mouth movement. Billy Jack. Motherfucking Billy Jack. Great stuff. Billy Jack is a Native American cowboy who is protecting a hippie school from do-batters, and he's fighting horse poachers who are trying to get dog food, and they're pieces of shit. I love you all. Good night. Thank you for watching. We'll see y'all next week. Bye.